Welcome back to Land to House. This is part 3 of the off-grid water tower. In today's video, I plan on cranking up the ram pump and getting one of these tanks filled up. So let's get started. If you watched the previous episode, you know that this is our intake where the water comes in from the ram pump. And I've got some 3/4 inch poly pipe, and that's going to be used as the pipe that brings water from the ram pump. So what I want to do is just get this installed here. I may come back later with a hose clamp if I need to, but that should do for now. I'm anticipating a pretty good bit of pull on this pipe downward towards the pump. And so what I'm going to do is use some of this plumber's tape, and I'm going to mount this to this base board here, and that should keep things from pulling down too much, so, or at least help. I just brought a couple of 1 1/4 inch screws here. When I went to the hardware store, I did not buy any hose clamps, and so if these barbs end up coming off of here, I will just have to pull this off and use some hose clamps later. But I'm gonna try and get all of these connected together real quick. Yeah. Hopefully it'll make a nice strong connection. And hopefully, I have a total of 400 feet of this black pipe, so I'm really hoping that I have enough to get to the ram pump. Okay, on to the next. A very common question that I get about how do I have my delivery pipes across the road? And the answer is I go into my culvert pipe, or culvert tile if you prefer. So I'm just going to feed this in here, and hopefully it will reach the other end. Well, there we go. That was successful. I'm going to pull this through till the other end gets taut. I think that's about it right there. This pipe has a bit more muck in it, and so I think what I'm going to do is use this garden hose that's already under there to pull through this other hose and this other pipe, just to make it easier on me. Well, there's snag one. Oh man, I just saw an early problem. I don't think there's enough pipe here to get all the way through the culvert. It's like I always say, if at first you don't succeed, pull the pipe the other way. I have to go loosen up that pipe. It looks like these two pieces of pipe are going to meet up underneath the culvert pipe, and because I never want to see them again, I'm going to go ahead and put some hose clamps on. I found these in my shop. All right, there's one. Get the other side down here. I can't tell you how many times I have connected a piece of pipe and then forgotten that my hose clamp wasn't on yet. It's really annoying. Let me know if you've ever done that before. If you ever think, should I either A, bring a screwdriver, or B, a socket for these hose clamps, the answer is always socket. It's just so much quicker than having to use this screwdriver. Well, after 400 foot, the pipe is right here, and the ram pump is right there. So close. I'm assuming around 30 feet or so. Well, I guess it's time to hook up a garden hose to finish off this temporarily. Man, that's taking forever. About an hour to find out how to go from the end of this pipe right here to the pump. I was trying to use the garden hose, but didn't have the fittings that I need. So I've dropped down from 3/4 to 1/2 inch for the last, I'm gonna say 30 to 35 feet to the pump over here. So I've got that hooked up. So what I'd like to do is test out the system with my current head pressure to make sure it's gonna reach the tanks no problem. And then I will alter the bucket here to be a bit cleaner because its current setup is not good for a ram pump. So anyway, that looks good. It's pulling in plenty of water today. Let's go start up the pump. And the 1-inch ram pump is going strong. I'm assuming I have somewhere around 5 feet of head pressure here. And that should be plenty enough to get us up the hill. So let's follow the delivery pipe and see what our results are up at the tanks. So the ram pump is all the way down in there, and it's traveled up here so far. Now what's kind of fun is you can, so that's full, and that's not full yet. Full now. Not full. So it's about right here in traveling, so we're not too far away. It's getting close now. Let's see, empty there, full there, so we're around this last little corner here. Let's see what we get. Yep, right there on top. Okay. That seems to be doing well there. And we have success. That is quite a nice outflow there. Pretty good. Okay, let's shut that off. Should take just a second before it reaches this top side here. Seeing a bit of a leak right there. Have to fix that. There we go. Cool. Now it's time to fill the tanks. And that should do it. It's going to take a while. When I open this, we should get quite a flow. Oh yeah. Nice. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for a while and fill up some tanks, and we'll go water the garden. I just want to see something here. Nice. Cool. And let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, it's a good flow. Nice, that's going to be able to water a garden really well. I've waited until the next day for these tanks to fill up, and they have quite nicely. Now it's raining and has rained all night, and the pump kept going, so that's a good thing. There's a little bit of overflow. I just used the water, so it has stopped for a moment, but let me show you the kind of flow rate we're getting here. That's pretty serious. So that will be able to provide all kinds of water for the garden space. Now, I've heard your concerns about the water tower, and I am going to come back with some diagonal bracing. I'm going to have them on the corners up top, which will be good. And then I'm going to do some, probably on the back side, some full side bracing to make sure this thing doesn't have any issues with collapsing, because I certainly don't want that 800 gallons or 800 pounds to be coming down and messing up anything. So that's good. Now, another question was asked: would I explain the reasoning behind the water going in from the bottom? And also, another person was asking, how does that even work? So basically, the ram pump is pushing water up through this pipe, and atmospheric pressure is what is pushing down on the pipe. Now, it doesn't matter if you're using this 3/4 inch pipe, or what would this be? A 2-foot diameter pipe, basically. So it's all still one atmospheric pressure spread out equally across this. That's how I understand it, at least. So when it comes to water filling up from the bottom, it is having to push the exact same amount of pressure up, whether it was going through this tiny pipe or in a pipe this big. So it really doesn't matter the size of the pipe or tank. For instance, if I put this same 3/4 inch pipe into the bottom of a 2 million gallon stock tank, then it would eventually bring the water up and over the edge. So the water is able to push against that column of water just the same as any other. So the tank's just filled back up again from where I was just using them. So you can see just how much flow rate we've got up here. That's a pretty good bit tumbling down there. So anyway, my next plan is to beef up the tower some more and then add a 3rd tank up here to be a total of 1,200 pounds. So I just want to make sure it's nice and strong to be able to do that. So the reason I fed from the bottom is because I did not want to have to bring the pipe up and make a 90-degree up here on the top. It really doesn't matter. As you can see, it is filling this from the bottom, no problem at all. And it was just easier to plummet down here. If I were to put the water up there, it might be difficult to reach up there and turn it off if I ever needed to. Whereas now, I can just shut it off here at this valve. I know we didn't quite get the ram pump 100% tied into the creek like I wanted to, so we'll make a part 4 of the water tower build, where I beef up the tower and then get the rest of the intake for the ram pump finished up. It took me longer than I was expecting because I couldn't find my parts. So anyway, it's working now, and I'll have to go buy more poly pipe to bring the water back down to the garden. Thanks for watching. If you've got some comments, write those below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.